Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, April 16th at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. First item up would be adoption of some minutes, so we're looking at adoption of previous minutes from Committee of the Whole from April the 2nd, regular open minutes from April the 2nd, special open minutes from April the 11th, and public hearing minutes from April the 3rd, all 2012. Any discussion on any of those? They will be adopted by consensus. No business arising. No late items, which is rather strange. Usually we have some tag-alongs, but not today. No delegations. Moving right into water matters, and this would be water accounts payable in the amount of $14,639.08. Councilor Marrera, Councilor Aranjo, any discussion? They will be adopted by consensus. Oh, no, I think we'll have a vote on that. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next item up would be some correspondence. This would be the regular monthly report from the Okanagan Basin Water Board regarding the April the 5th meeting highlights. Any discussion on that? Councillor Ryan, please.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you may want to point out that in their first item about approving grants, there are two there of note to us.
Yes.
And one of them is one that we supported for the Okanagan Nation Alliance, and they were successful. And the other one, maybe you could tell us about that.
Okay. Well, the other one is actually quite exciting and very innovative and breakthrough. And actually, Councillor Rhodes is going to talk to that as a part of his report. So I'm not going to break that bubble.
Okay.
You'll have to stay tuned.
I'll remain in the meeting.
Okay. And the second item of correspondence is the Velo Village request for support for resolution for provincial funding. What's Council's wishes on that? Just to receive? Okay, so that would be receiving both of those correspondence items. Having no dialogue, they will be adopted by consensus, adopted as received by consensus. Moving into some bylaws, we have Mr. Zackel, Director of Financial Services. He has quite a bit to do with today's meeting, so we'll start right off with bylaws, number 1 being the Sunnyville water system parcel tax. Mr. Zackel. And I think the first question, where's the Sunnyville water system? We have to ask this every year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Wells. Sunnyville water system is down in the Lacey Point area. So basically the boundary expansion that took place back a number of years ago had a separate water system at that time called Sunnyville water system. So this is a parcel tax for the associated with some specific or specified area water system infrastructure improvements. The debt was renewed at a lower rate. It was renewed at a rate of 3.05% from 5.93%. So thus the property owners that are paying the parcel tax charges on this debt should be realizing a reduction in their parcel tax charge. So before council is bylaw 1157.02, reducing the parcel tax charge from $81.30 to $52.36 for 2012, and the bylaw 1157.02 is I've got requested for first 3 readings of that bylaw for today's meeting.
Okay, Council, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Ryan, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. I think those folks will be quite happy to be getting a little reduction down there, and that even includes Mr. John Jellick, who lives down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Wells.
Oh, I'm sorry, the bylaw fees?
Okay, so on to the next one is the Administrative Fees and Charges Bylaw 1269-2012. The Administrative Fees and Charges Bylaw is established to impose fees and charges for the provision of information, services, and equipment. Bylaw 1269 was given first 3 readings at the April 2nd meeting of Council. So it's before Council now for adoption.
Okay, Council, please. Councillor McCordoff, Councillor Plant, any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Also carried. Bylaw 115601, Lacey Point Water.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. Again, this is another one. We've got two bylaws coming forward. This Lacey Point Water System Bylaw Amendment 115601 is the first one, and this was established to recover costs associated with the specified area water infrastructure improvements. Parcel tax is collected from the properties in Lacey Point specified area that did not pay their portion of the capital costs of the water infrastructure when it was constructed. These property owners have elected to pay the debt over 20 years as a parcel tax. Likewise, this debt was renewed at 3.05%, down from the 5.93% that the debt was initially initiated at. So the parcel tax rates are going down from $162.11 to $97.02. So the recommendation is for first three readings on Bylaw 115601.
Thank you, Councillor Plant, Councillor Rhodes. That's a substantial drop in charges.
It is. When you're talking about, well, it went from an interest rate of 5.93% to 3.05%.
Okay.
And you're only talking about 14 properties that are part of this specified area tax.
Okay, great. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, just a question, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Zackel. So the duration of these loans, are they 5 or 10-year loans?
This is a total of a 20-year debt, but it renewed at 10 years. So basically renewing the interest rate.
Good.
And this interest rate was renewed for a period of 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaw 115803, same Lacey Point, this time with the sewer.
Thank you again, Mayor Ross. So Lacey Point Sewer System Parcel Tax Bylaw was established again to recover costs associated with the specified area sewer infrastructure improvements. This bylaw likewise was renewed at 3.05%, and the parcel tax rate has been reduced from $268.69 to $168.29, and is looking for first three readings of Bylaw 115803.
Okay, Councillor Rhodes, McCordoff. Any discussion on that? All in favor, opposed, carried. The first three readings. Bylaw 1289, tax rates.
Okay, so the tax rates, 2012 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1289 is before council. And this is to update the tax rates for 2012 with the due date for 2012 taxes being July 3 of 2012. The Osoyoos tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan that was adopted April 2nd, 2012. The budget for municipal tax revenue is $2,311,150, being the 2011 budget plus the $13,100 in new construction tax dollars. And the business multiple remains at 1.6 times the residential mill rate. The town of Osoyoos is responsible for collecting and remitting taxes for other taxing authorities, including the following: school, hospital, RCMP, Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen, hospital, library, BC Assessment Authority, and Municipal Finance Authority. The 2011 benefit for property owners eligible to claim a homeowner grant whose home is located in BC, outside the Capital Regional District, Greater Vancouver Regional District, and Fraser Valley Regional District, which is basically everywhere outside the Lower Mainland. That benefit will continue again for 2012. This benefit's called the Northern and Rural Homeowners Benefit, and this benefit's is a $200 over and above the current homeowner grant levels. Did a comparison of municipal taxes between municipalities and just related it to the municipal portion of taxes. So you'll see an average assessed value in Osoyoos is $373,971. So the average residential average residential property will pay $590.39 in Osoyoos. This compares to Oliver, which pays $610.28 for average single-family dwelling, and $1,177.10 from Peachland. In doing the analysis on this, because apples aren't the same in each location, I did include the charge from the RDOS for parks, community hall, and programs in the RDOS requisition from the town of Oliver, because they do their systems differently.
Okay.
Likewise with the average assessed value for a business or other. In Osoyoos, the average assessed or average property in Osoyoos will pay $952.96 in municipal taxes. This again compares to Oliver at $2,159.47 and Peachland at $4,558. So you'll see Osoyoos is still well in line with the taxes for municipal purposes. So property tax rates bylaws must be adopted by May 15th as per section 197(1) of the community charter. From the community perspective, is continued operation and enhancement of the municipality. Organizationally, there's no changes with this bylaw. Budget, Osoyoos tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan. Sustainability, working to ensure maintaining levels of service for the community and financial sustainability for the town. So the recommendation before council is to give first 3 readings to 2012 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1289 2012.
I would think that would be with pleasure by Councillor Rhodes. Councillor Plant, discussion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to just comment on one thing, and that's how friendly our town is towards business, and that multiplier of 1.6. I'm going to stick my neck out here. I think it's one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the province right now. And you know, it's enjoyed by business. You know, it's often disguised by, you know, all of the other dynamics of running a business in this community. But yeah, that's pretty favorable, and I kind of wanted to break that out, just acknowledge that fact. We are really friendly when it comes to taxation towards businesses.
And this year our residents also, you know, with those very, very minor increases, what a good news budget this was. Council, any other comments? Do we need that resolution was for all 3 readings?
That's correct.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next one is a little bit of an interesting one. Bylaw 1290, Cottonwood and Highway 3 intersection, and it's actually looking for a loan authorization. So it has an interesting concept. Mr. Jacques.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So before council is a project that was in the 5-year financial plan in 2012, and this is a Cottonwood Road project that goes from the intersection down to what I believe is a Sage Pub. So in our financial or 5-year financial plan, we had budgeted to actually borrow on this project to make this happen. So before council is loan authorization bylaw 1290/2012. This is to establish a loan authorization bylaw to allow the town of Osoyoos to borrow funds to secure financing for the Cottonwood Road reconstruction project from Highway 3 to the remainder of Lot 1, Plan 46437. The road reconstruction project for Cottonwood from Highway 3 to the remainder of Lot 1, 46437 is in the town of Osoyoos 5-year financial plan and to be completed in 2012. This project has a budget of $383,000 with 25% funding coming from development cost charges, or $95,750. To secure the funding for the balance of the project, loan authorization bylaw 1290/2012 was prepared before council. Once this bylaw receives first 3 readings from council, the bylaw is sent to the Inspector of Municipalities for their approval. Once approval is received from the Inspector of Municipalities, elector assent is required before council is able to adopt the loan authorization bylaw. The least cost alternative and the quickest process is called the counter petition process, the other being referendum. It is recommended that council use the counter petition process for trying to obtain elector assent for this project. The process is that notice will be posted in 2 consecutive weeks of the Osoyoos Times notifying the electors of the counter petition process. The counter petition process begins the date of the second publication of the Osoyoos Times and will run for at least 30 days. Once this process is completed, and if the town has received approval of the electors, then the bylaw would be brought forward for council's adoption of the bylaw. If the counter petition process fails, council has 2 remaining options to allow for this project to proceed, one being go into referendum, and the other is to find funds and not borrow. So From the community perspective, is ensuring the town's road networks are in good shape. Organizationally, nothing. Budget, the project was included in a 5-year financial plan, and sustainability to ensure road infrastructure is maintained. So before council is a few options. First one, to give first 3 readings to loan authorization bylaw 1290-2012 and send the loan authorization bylaw to the Inspector of Municipalities for approval. 2, to get elector assent by the counter petition process. 3, to go to referendum for elector assent. And 4, to delay the project until funding is available to proceed with the project without borrowing. So the recommendation of council is option 1 and 2, to give first 3 readings and to get to do the elector assent by counter petition process.
Thank you. Council's wishes, please. Councillor McCordoff, Councillor Ryan, please. Councillor McCordoff.
Yes, I would like to move the adoption, or recommend that options 1 and 2 together be included in this.
Thank you. And Councillor Ryan, that was the
Yes,
seconder?
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion on this, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thank you. I had just a couple of questions, and I want to clarify for those that are watching and listening. The amount that is identified as development cost charges, are these going to be from reserves, DCC reserves, or is this something that will be levied against some of the adjoining properties?
No, thank you for the question. This is funds that we have collected from developers from previous years. It's a restricted revenue that can only be utilized towards designated development cost charge projects. So the $92,000 and change is already collected, already in the town's funds.
Good, thank you. And the other question is, does this have anything to do with the intersection and the alignment there for purposes of the necessary stoplight?
Okay, no. The only portion of this project is from the intersection to Sage Pub. So the intersection project is a completely separate project. In addition, the town is overlaying Cottonwood south at this present time, or in the very, very near future. Those are 2 completely different projects from this. This is just strictly the portion of road going north.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Sackle, when I think back, I don't think we've ever used counter petition before that have we?
The other one that we did was on 87th Street.
Oh, it was the same as this? It was borrowing ahead of receiving the money through the tax basis?
Basically, we didn't have enough in reserves to make the project complete, so we optioned for borrowing on that. 87th Street is the only general debt that we currently have on the books. And this would, if this was to go through, this would be the second one.
Okay, great. Any other discussion? All in favor of the first 3 readings and
send off to the counter.
Oh, that's right, and the counter petition in progress. Okay, thank you. The next one up is bylaw 1085.85, zoning amendment on steel storage containers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sensing a little bit of conflict of interest here, so I'm going to recuse myself from this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Just to make this quick, on April 3rd, 2012, a public hearing was held. There were no written submissions or presentations, so staff is requesting that Council, or recommending that Council give second and third reading to this bylaw.
Okay. Could we just go through that again? Do we have the high points here, the overview, and that just
sure.
So people understand the last go around on this? Sure.
So just to summarize the bylaw, zoning amendment bylaw 1085.85, metal storage containers. It is attached, and its intent is to provide clear regulations to ensure that these containers are utilized appropriately in the community and to avoid conflicts with what some people may perceive as unsightly structures. The bylaw stipulates that metal storage containers may only be used as an accessory storage structure and shall not be stacked, altered in any way, used as living accommodations, accessible to the general public, or rented as a commercial storage facility. Following the adoption of the amendment bylaw, only metal storage containers will only be permitted in the agricultural and industrial zones. The bylaw regulates the numbers of containers and their siting, and that from an industrial zone business, the container may be rented, leased, or sold for off-site use. Also, these containers will be allowed for temporary storage on a lot where a building permit has been issued for a principal building or a municipal construction project.
Thank you. So we're looking at second and third reading on this. Council, please. Councillor McCordoff, Councillor Plant, any discussion on this issue at all? Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the impact statement that was, impact report that accompanied this initially when it was discussed by council, there were several several sites that were going to be non-conforming, and some action was proposed to be taken to bring them into conformity with this if it passes. Do they have those intended violators, have they been notified at all of this and of the fact that they will be, you know, in violation of the bylaw once it's passed?
The only properties that enforcement action will be utilized on are those properties that are in contraventions of current stipulations of our bylaws. For example, if a shipping container is in a parking stall or is placed on an empty lot, items like that that we have current bylaws that prohibit that sort of use of them. So that's clearly identified in the impact assessment table. None of these properties were identified because this is a very general bylaw that applies throughout the town, and no specific properties were given a notification. It's not like a normal zoning bylaw where people within 60 meters are provided a notice by mail.
So when it's finally adopted, if it's finally adopted, then at that point, then anyone who's not in conformity with it will be advised. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Rhodes, please. Rescue him. Great. Thanks, Mr. Zackel. Thanks, Mr. Armstrong. Still in bylaws. Last one, bylaws H8. Report on public moorage regulation bylaw 1287 and the municipal ticketing information amendment bylaw 127902. Mr. Shannon, please.
Good afternoon, Council. Public moorage regulations bylaw 1287 and the accompanying MTI bylaw amendment bylaw 1279.02 were reviewed by Council during the COW meeting held on April the 2nd, 2012. At the time, Council suggested that the fines should be increased for offenses resulting in impacts to the environment and for entering or leaving the lagoon at a high rate of speed. The Director of Corporate Services has also reviewed the bylaws. Based on her suggestion, the reference to rowdyism was removed from bylaw 1287 and replaced with nuisance. Nuisance is further defined in the bylaw now. It says anything that annoys or gives trouble or which is offensive, irritating, or a pest to any person in the town. Bylaws 1287 and 127902 have been revised and prepared for Council's consideration of first, second, and third readings. Now, I won't go through the entire bylaws, but I'll just start by saying that the Public Moorage Regulations bylaw addresses unauthorized moorage, nuisance to others of the marina facility, security, unauthorized storage of items on the docks, unauthorized commercial activities, littering, transferring of fuel, boats parked in contravention of any posted requirements, smoking within the marina facility, using a boat as a residence, and a couple other activities. One of them is like barbecuing within the marina. Agents of the town and emergency first responders, including the police, ambulance, or fire, are exempt from the provisions of this bylaw. This bylaw also gives the CAO the authority to have a boat towed from the marina facility should the owner not comply with requests to remove the boat or fails to acknowledge any municipal ticket that may be issued within 24 hours of issuance. The purpose of the MTI Amendment Bylaw 127902 is the addition of Schedule 25, which includes a list of specific fines associated with each of the public moorage regulations. There's a list of 18 of them. They've all got their own fine. A couple of examples: unauthorized moorage is $150. If paid within 30 days, it's $120. The fines related to impacts to the environment have been increased. You'll notice that throwing rubbish overboard or leaving rubbish on the docks is now $500. Entering or leaving the lagoon at a high rate of speed, again, is $500. Pouring overboard any petroleum products, sewage or fuel or anything like that is $1,000. Transferring fuel from one tank to another is $1,000. And there's a specific fine identified for every single one of the 18 regulations that are in Bylaw 1287. Implications to the community is to regulate the use of the marina facility at Lions Park. Organizational, it's within the scope of bylaw enforcement. Budget enforcement of the MTI bylaw will generate revenue, and sustainability, fines for offenses resulting in impacts to the environment helps to ensure the long-term sustainability of the marina by protecting the environment. So your options are: read the Public Moorage Regulations Bylaw number 1287 and accompanying MTI Amendment Bylaw 127902 for the first, second, and third time. Direct staff to make revisions to the bylaws, or direct staff to abandon the bylaws. Council recommends option 1.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shannon. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move option 1.
Okay, and seconder, Councillor McCordoff. Councillor Rhodes speaking, please.
Don't really have too much to say. I'm really happy, as you know, to see some of those fines boosted up, particularly the ones that have an impact on our environment, like the fuel spillage and littering and that type of thing. You know, this is a really neat feel-good project, and regrettably you have to bring about bylaws that affect the bad actors and people that may do these kind of things. So yeah, I'm real glad to see those fines are boosted up considerably.
Thank you. Any other comments? I guess following along on that, they're certainly significant. And I know that the press is here from the Osoyoos Times. Mr. Lacey, the editor, I'm sure we'll get some coverage in that. But I think people should really be paying attention. You start talking $500 fines and $1,000 fines. They are significant, but in that kind of close confined area with a lot of people, a lot of wood, a lot of boats, it certainly is being careful about the other person and the other person's needs and everything. So we're moving ahead on this, and that marina down there just looking better and better all the time. People using it. I mean, you have to go through a war zone to get your boat in down there, but there was about 15 or 20 launches yesterday down there. So it's people still using it and getting their boats in and out of the water. So, anything else from Councilor McCordoff, please?
Thank you. While this could be a lucrative business for the town, I'm certainly hoping that this is not one of the areas that we have to retain some money. So let's hope that we don't have to collect very much from people that are not obeying the laws this year.
Yeah, good comment, and none would be really good.
Best.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Mr. Shannon. Moving into the business section of the meeting, under the number 1 item, business I-1, we have Mr. Armstrong with a street vendor application for Beach Bum Lunch Box at Gyro Park. Mr. Armstrong, please.
So on June 15th, 2009 Business License Amendment Bylaw 1045.31, street vendors, was adopted by Council. And on April 2nd, 2012, Council reviewed the Beach Bum Lunchbox street vendor proposal to operate from a municipal park. This was the first application for a vendor in a municipal park, and Beach Bum has an innovative menu, which includes Montreal smoked meat sandwiches. 2 consecutive notices on April 4th and 11th were placed in the Osoyoos Times, stating that on April 16th, Town Council will consider granting a license of use agreement for a street vendor site at Gyro Park to Beach Bum Lunchbox. See attached. Key components of the license of use agreement include the following: the fees, term, insurance requirements, and termination process. 2, Gyro Park will be the primary vending site. The licensee may only temporarily use Pioneer Walkway if the town determines this to be necessary due to the construction at Gyro Park. 3, there is a 2013 renewal option for Gyro Park. If the new Gyro Park concession is in operation, Pioneer Walkway will be offered to avoid 2 competing businesses at Gyro Park. Staff will bring a report to Council in January 2013 to discuss renewal. 4, for events such as Canada Day, the special event permit holder may suggest an alternative operating site within Gyro Park to accommodate other users and festivities. 5, at Pioneer Walkway, the vehicle used to tow the vending trailer may be or will be required to park off-site to facilitate parking for park users. 6, promote sustainability by stipulating that Beach Bum is to use biodegradable disposable dishes and containers. 7, wording to ensure that the licensee does not impede with the construction plan to Gyro Park or vehicular access to the park, and a stipulation to ensure that the licensee's generator does not impact peace and quiet enjoyment of the park. And the respective vending site plans haven't been attached to this agreement because those still need to be determined, especially for Gyro Park with the construction plan. Staff will be holding a meeting with the contractor this week, so this will be part of the discussions.
Great.
So implication statements, community, an additional attraction for resort guests and residents, loss of one parking stall at either Pioneer Walkway or Gyro Park, organizational with staff time to prepare the advertisement and license of use agreement, budget, business license fee, and then $500 for the license of use agreement, and sustainability. The town is encouraging biodegradable disposable dishes. So the options include 1, approve the agreement, 2, suggest some amendments to the agreement, or 3, do not approve the agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Council, please. Councilor Ryan.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that we approve this agreement as presented.
Okay, Councilor Rhodes. That would be the seconder. Speaking, Councilor Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm excited about this, and I wish them well. I'm really happy to see all the provisions that our staff have thought about, and I particularly like that second-year renewal if they're doing a good job and they're up to date on everything, and also the off-site parking. So, you know, it seems like they've thought of all the details. So I'm looking forward to going down there for lunch.
Great. Councilor McCordoff, Councilor Rhodes.
Thank you. At one point, we had talked about the facility needing 2 business licenses if they were going to use 2 facilities. Has that been resolved, and they're only going to have to pay for the 1 license?
That's how the lease was written.
Okay, so that they can go either to Pioneer Walkway or Gyro Beach, depending on, but with your with planning's approval to where they go. Is that the idea?
Yeah, the way the license has been written is Gyro Park is their primary site, and if they find the construction to be disruptive, that's when the town will authorize them to relocate to Pioneer Walkway.
And I do appreciate the fact that from the people who have events down there, that the fact that they might be down there is discussed and can be, there's some sort of an arrangement can be worked out. Good, on special days. Thank you.
Councilor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, great job, Mr. Armstrong. Really glad that you were able to put this thing together. I know they came to our COW meeting. I was really happy. And I want to draw attention to 2 things. Just for effect, I'd like to repeat the sustainability. impact statement that's in there about them using the biodegradable and disposable dishes and utensils. That's a huge, huge step forward in our community, and I'm really, really glad that that was brought forward. And the other thing is, these mobile units are very contemporary. They're growing rapidly in cities and towns all across Canada and North America, and we're not restricted to just this one unit. If this goes well, I would encourage other people that are interested in this kind of thing to, maybe look forward to adding a little diversity, maybe some other kinds of things. They're very, very popular, and I have to qualify that by being an avid watcher of the Food Network, and it seems like every other program that's on there has something to do with mobile food vendors. And like I said, it's very contemporary, and I'm glad that we're bringing this to our community in such a structured and professional way.
Thanks, Councillor Rhodes, and just also recalling the visit that the applicants made to council was on the health side of it, was no French fries, which means no poutine. I don't know what's going to happen down there on the beach. So, any other input into this? All in favor of granting the license? Thank you. Approving the agreement. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Armstrong. Back to Mr. Zackel. Walkway and sidewalk extensions for the Differton Ridge neighborhood. This is certainly in the good news category. Mr. Zackel, please.
Thank you again, Mayor Wells. So before council is the tender for the walkway and sidewalk extension to Differton Ridge development. This is in our 5-year financial plan in 2012 under the name Sidewalk/Walkway to Heritage Hills. The total budget for this project was $693,000. A total of 6 bids were received, with the lowest bid being R355 Enterprises at $426,691.18, and this is including a contingency allowance in HST. True Consulting Group has reviewed the tender packages and has confirmed that R355 Enterprises was the lowest bidder. The tender was under budget, and the recommended contractor is R355 Enterprises. With acceptance of the R355 Enterprise tender, the total project cost is projected to be $568,038.76, so $124,961 under budget. So implications to the community: improvements to the town sidewalk and trail network. Organizations, no changes. Budget, project is targeted to come in under budget and is included in our 5-year financial plan. And likewise, sustainability is improvement to the town's sidewalks and network trails, which hopefully ultimately reduces greenhouse gas emissions. So the recommendation before council is to award the walkway and sidewalk extension to Differton Ridge neighborhood tender to R355 Enterprises in the amount of $426,691.18, which includes a $20,000 contingency and 12% HST.
Thank you, Mr. Zackel. Council, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I will move that we award the walkway and sidewalk extension to Differton Ridge neighborhood tender to R355 Enterprises in the amount of $426,691.18.
Thank you. And that seconder, Councillor Plant. Speaking to the awarding, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this, as you say, is good news, not only for the people who live at Differton Ridge and who walk up there, and children the young people who go to the high school, but to the community generally. And I am not only happy to see us get this after this is, I think, our 3rd try at getting an acceptable tender, but I'm also pleased with the award that's going to R355 because they've satisfactorily completed our in-town components from the Northwest Sewer, and so they were all over town, and they were just exemplary. The way they kept filling the holes and watering down to keep the dust, and the paving. I did paving in my younger days, and I'm very impressed by the paving job they did. And now they've put all the markings on the street and on the parking lots and the dividing lines. So I think we have a good company there, and I'm I'm happy that we're going to have this work done.
Great. Any other comments on this? Mr. Remenko, please.
And just for the public's knowledge, and again, meeting some of our communication commitments with the provincial government, that we're supposed to, at every opportunity, inform people that $235,000 of this project funding is coming from a recently secured recreation grant that is really enabling this project to move ahead. A second portion is that I think a large portion of the funding is also coming out of our Community Works grant funding, which is gas tax funding from the provincial government. So certainly, I don't know that there is a lot of, say, general tax dollars involved in this project. It's all monies that's been secured from outside the community.
That is good news, and it's really nice to be able to service that area up there. It's sort of been on a want list for councils for quite a while now, and we've even gone to tender before, and it just kept coming back too expensive. So it was really nice to land that one, and thanks to the provincial government for their funding and the gas tax money and all that to make this go. I also just want to note that Osoyoos is one of the few communities in the Okanagan Valley that has any infrastructure going on at all. And of course, it's a matter of timing, and a lot of the money came through last year, and by the time we got to tender, it was good management, but it was also some happenstance involved in that. And we've got these projects going off one after the other, and we're getting all the contractors up and down the valley coming in, and they're hungry, and we're getting very, very attractive prices for the work that we're doing. We would wish that it was local, but the prices that are coming in, these people really want to create employment for their core group of workers and that. And like this one here being $120,000 under bid, everything that we've been doing has been well under budget. So that's very interesting, and again, good news for the town of Osoyoos. So thanks. Anything further? All in favor of awarding it? Opposed? Carried. Look out for the sidewalk. Next item is under Business 3, Director of Community Service, Mr. Davis, on the Arts Council lease, please.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, Council. Before you, the Osoyoos and District Arts Council approached the town to do upgrades to the stage at the Sonora Community Center, and at the same time they wanted to renew their lease. The Arts Council is willing to pay for upgrades to the stage at the Sonora Community Center so they can have a facility to host events and bring some entertainment options to the community. They've agreed to install side exit curtains, install new lighting, and also refurbish the stage floor. They would also like to renew their lease. The current lease right now doesn't expire until December 31st of this year, but there is an option to renew at an earlier date. As part of this process for the upgrades, the Arts Council have agreed to renew their current lease. They would like to get their lease renewed for 5 more years with an option to renew for another 5 years. A separate agreement will be developed for the free use of the stage and gymnasium. Staff has met with the Arts Council and has included the stage upgrades in the current budget and has agreed to the terms pursuant to Council's approval. The changes to the lease would include a 5-year lease with an option to renew for an additional 5 years. For use of the Sonora Community Center stage and gymnasium for a maximum of 2 times per year, which will be applicable for the duration of the lease, will be brought forward at a later time in a separate agreement. In terms of implications, upgrading the stage and offering more options for the community would be a huge asset. Organizationally, really nothing. In terms of the budget, the stage upgrades are currently in our approved budget as a revenue source coming directly from the Arts Council at approximately $17,500. And in terms of sustainability, renewing the existing stage assists with our overall sustainability plan, not creating nothing new, but using what we have and just putting a new face to it. In terms of options, option number 1, that council approve the free use of the stage, which will be included in a separate agreement, and enter into a lease renewal for 5 years with an option for an additional 5-year term from May 1st, 2012 till April 30th, 2017, at a fee of $1, and that council's intention to lease be advertised pursuant to Section 26 of the Community Charter. Option number 2, that council do the same kind of situation, but just doing a shorter term. Option number 3, that council approves the free use of the stage, which will be included in a separate agreement, and not enter into a lease renewal agreement at this time. And option number 4, that council not approve the free use of the stage and not enter into a lease renewal at this time. And staff's recommending option number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Council, please. Councilor McCordoff.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm a little bit concerned about this one just because it's new to me. I'm wondering why we wouldn't accept number 3, that they approve the free use of the stage, they don't pay really anything for a lease agreement, $1. So why would they feel that they should have to pay for the upgrade of everything there when would that not be our responsibility to do that, the towns?
Yeah, and they've come to us to do this. They wanted to do this. This is something that we didn't go looking for.
Wow.
So it's something that they want to do, to have it in the community to do that. And just at the same time, they want to renew their lease for 5 years.
So they're sort of volunteering then to...
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. I'm okay with that.
Yes, that's very good.
nice.
They did come to us with the curtains and the floor and
Wow.
the upgrades. And I guess I have a question on this, and it would be, do they have exclusive use on that, or what would be the...
Yeah.
It's a free use, but my question would be, is it exclusive, or does it go through a booking process?
So how it'll be worded, because this will be a separate agreement, is that it would be subject to availability. So as we book now, and the maximum time that they would use, like 1 to 2 times a year, and they would do it for a fundraiser, or if they have an option to bring something to town, in the form of some kind of entertainment or show or whatever, they would like to do that, but still to do something for the community. And all the other things to do with a booking would still be applicable, like the insurance and all that stuff to have.
Okay. Councilor Ryan?
Yes, would you like to have a motion before we
Sure,
discuss it? Because I have some questions as well. So I'd be happy to move the option number 1, that we approve the use of the stage in a separate agreement to be formulated, and that we have a 5-year renewal with an option for an additional year and the fee of $1, as indicated.
And that seconder was Councilor Rhodes. Okay. Now, Councilor
Yes, so thank you. I'm impressed by this, and I had a couple of questions. First of all, just wondering what the value would be if someone, a nonprofit society such as they are, were to rent the hall, and what we're arranging there for
It would be
once a year or twice a year.
It would be anywhere from $850 to $1,000 per rental.
Okay. So as I calculated, if they're getting 20 rentals over the lease period, that's $875 so they're basically prepaying for the use of it, and we're getting the benefit of that. So I think that's a really good deal for both of us, and hopefully their events will be fundraising and will be successful. The other is that I know we've been trying to make our leases more or less the same, and recently we went through one in which we proposed to add the cost of sewer and water to the leaseor. If I got it right, the leaseor's expenses. And I just wonder that doesn't appear to be in this one, and I'm wondering if any consideration was given to them paying the cost of sewer and water for the next door building.
Yeah, we never had any discussions pertaining to that. It wasn't an issue that we brought forward either, though. But it is something that we could discuss before it's actually done.
Can I weigh in here?
Yeah,
I
sure.
thought that was sort of more for exclusive use buildings, such as where the Lions are, or where the sailing club is, or where the seniors building was. I thought it was exclusive use for that whole building, that whole service and facility, rather than just the portion of the Sonora Center.
Oh, I'm not talking about the Sonora Center. I'm talking about the next door building.
Oh, I see.
Give them the lease on
Okay,
these.
okay.
Yeah, and simply because we started looking at some of the elements in our leases, and that was one that recently came up, and I just wasn't sure whether it was thought about or reviewed from that point of view. Because again, I don't know what the charges would be, but I know they're paying for their electricity.
Yep.
And I guess, I don't know what kind of heat they have, whether it's gas or whatever, but, so I just, again, we won't have another chance for 10 years.
No.
So,
I think that's important, and thank you for bringing that up, Councillor Ryan. I think that's important because we are trying to get on that same page with all of our community leaseholders. So, yes, that would be great. Mr. Romanko?
One other element of this is the same lease that was in place prior, so we didn't go over it and make any changes. One of the other things that concerns me is the fact that you will be tying up this building for 10 years. And we have been talking about the future of this whole site, and although it's an option for the second year, there is no terminate. The only termination clause within the lease is three months written notice by the tenant. And my sense is that council would like to see them continue in the building. However, I would suggest that council consider some type of a termination clause within the lease, 1 year's notice or something like that, that would enable us, if the town wanted to do something with this site, that in fact we would be able to do it legitimately.
And again, I think that's great comment. So, Councillor Plant?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And that's probably why I would also have been in favor of number 3. I know their lease is not up, I think you said, till the end of this year. And this way it would give us an opportunity to kind of finish the process of what we've been trying to do with the other lease agreements in town. That's where I feel like if we can put everything kind of on the same page, getting some consistency with the rest of the buildings that are around, and as far as the lease agreements that are coming up. So again, I just wanted to put that out there, that I felt like maybe there was a time, because we can still offer them the staging, but take time now to really review all the leases and then have some similarity between what we're trying to do in town.
Sure. And I think tying that in with what Mr. Romanko said, 10 years is a little bit long for that building, because we just don't know what it's whether it's ever going to get that so-called heritage rating or not. I don't know, but to be out there for 10 years without any exit for the town, I don't think that's good management. So what would be great is if we could sit down with these folks and give them the rationale, because I could see moving into a 5-year agreement, but certainly 10 without an exit clause is a little bit long. So and if it comes up in December 2012, we have some talking time in there. Let's see if we can get the agreement and then come up with closer to the expiration of their existing lease. Mr. Romanko, that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Perhaps we could offer that as a friendly amendment to the motion.
Well, I think we can. I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't make those changes, or else we can simply, if we want to table this and have more negotiations on it. I mean, we do have a 3-month, but I agree. I think 3 months is a short time, and I think you were suggesting, Mr. Romanko, that we go to 12 months as opposed to...
Yeah, the tenant may terminate in 3 months, but there is no...
Oh, the tenant, sorry, I misread that. You're right. Yeah. Well, I think maybe the cleanest way to do it is to, I'd be prepared to withdraw the motion with the agreement of my seconder, and then we'll approach it on the basis of just the arrangement with at the Sonora Center, and then send back the text for an out clause for us and the other sewer and water.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Just Mr. Davis first, please.
We do have, I don't know if you have the actual draft agreement on page 8 under Provincials, that we do have an exit there right now. But it's only if something is not to our liking.
If they don't, if they don't
Right.
hold up there.
There's
Yeah,
no
we
time
need-
limit
yeah.
added to it or nothing, so.
Okay, so Councillor
So
Ryan.
I would be prepared to withdraw the motion subject to my
Councillor
colleague.
Rhodes is seconder. Okay, that motion is off the table. Now we're looking at the new direction, possibly option 3 if somebody is going to move that. Councillor Plant, Councillor Rhodes. Councillor Plant again speaking to that motion, please.
Just again, I think it puts us in line with what we're going to accomplish by looking at where our leases are at right now, and agreements, and gives us some time to do that, as well as provide them with the stage at this point right now. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, I think.
Great. Any other comments on that? Hearing none, all in favor, opposed, carried. Option 3, moving forward, and for goodness sake, let's have the dialogue with these people so it doesn't go off the track here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Next up is general accounts requirements. To approve general fund cash requirements in amount of $363, $672 and $672.34. Also to approve the Sun Bowl fund cash requirements in the amount of $5,027.40 and net payroll accounts of $71,561.16 for the period March 17th to March the 30th, received for information purposes. Any comments on those numbers once I finally got them out? Hearing none, those 3 items will be adopted by consensus. Next item up is Splash Park Committee. Councillor Plant, are you going to, or are we just going to receive it for information?
I think it was just to receive information, but I certainly can talk to it after, for sure. I can talk about it right now, actually, if you'd like.
Now would be the time.
Okay, so we did meet last week about our splash park. It really was just to get together and kind of look at the site of Jack Shaw Garden and get some feedback from Public Works. And so we are in the process right now of using the $10,000 that was established through council's agreement, and so we are just in the process of getting that well that's down there tested, and that's the process we're in right now. So we're getting some approval. We're looking at a couple different quotes right now, and then also moving forward with some of our fundraisers with the Rotary Club. The 3 that they've actually projected to be the fundraisers for the Splash Park is their golf tournament coming up, as well as the Jalopies Car Show, and also one in the fall regarding our wine festival in the fall. So we're really excited about that, and that's kind of where we left off for that day. We are working with Habitat. They are bringing down a representation for our next meeting to start talking about design.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Any other comments from council on that? Really moving ahead, and I'd just like to say, we had that $10,000 figure out there from previous years. There's a budget amount up there that was set aside of about $104,000. So this is just all tying in very nicely as we move forward with a splash park possibility getting closer and closer. So could we have a motion to receive that? Councillor Rhodes, Ryan, all in favor? Will we receive that report? Building permit report. That's just absolutely great. I see a little bit of commercial in there, and it looks like 1, 2, 3 houses. This is where we should be. The numbers are fairly substantial for the month. Building permit reports for the month, 1,186,000. So that's just a really good news. So let's hope that this keeps continuing. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I wanted to jump in here just so that we can reflect on this report for a couple more minutes. I don't really have any comments. I'd like to draw everybody's memory back to this time last year, the criticism and all of the other things that were going on, and the negativity about the total amounts, which were 268,000. Huge gain for this year, and how nice is that for our community?
Great comments. Motion to receive. Councillor Ryan, Councillor Plant, all in favor. We gratefully receive that one. Let's hope that this is the start of a turn here. Report from the Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Banco, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just a few of the activities that we've been involved in over the last couple of weeks, starting in the Community Development Department. They're working on a concert in the park series. They're hoping to be able to have 3 concerts in the Gyro Park area this summer, so that's underway. Also working with provincial tourism staff, rehiring a local landscaping company to landscape the hillside at the BC Visitor Center. So that's going to change very much the look at the corner there. And also their program is set, and the registration has gone out for the Pacific North Economic Development Conference that we're hosting here in town, hoping to draw people from all of the western states and Alberta and as far as Saskatchewan. In the Community Services Department, they're getting some quotes to tear down the grandstands at Desert Park. There's some safety concerns there, so a portion of the grandstands anyway. Also, their slow pitch league starts today, and we're being good neighbors and bringing in some teams from Oliver, as they are not organizing a league this spring. So we'll have a little bit of neighborly competition. And also a little report on the Sun Bowl Arena, which is having a very busy time. And with the busy time in the Sun Bowl Arena comes people to our community and hopefully spending a lot of money. There are 3 hockey tournaments in April with teams coming from BC and Alberta. The Coyotes Spring Camp the last weekend, and the Alberni Valley Bulldogs Camp the first weekend in May. And also the Sun Bowl Skating Club is hosting a spring school. And we're still having rentals throughout the week as well. So things are still moving on the ice there. Corporate services, working with Public Works and Recreation. The ads are in the paper. We're looking for student employees. These are university students mainly that are going to be going back to post-secondary education next year to work in our Public Works and Recreation departments. And you'll see in front of us the Smart Board, and they attended a Smart Board demonstration project. So hopefully we'll be getting this working here in the next while. Also, they completed a review of our indoor air quality. We had all the buildings tested for air quality as part of our wellness program, and we're just reviewing the results right now, and I think we're pretty good, except we have to do some work over at the Public Works building. So, but we'll be looking at that in the near future. Public Works irrigation is upon us, they say, and so they're out there getting everything cranked up with the water. And also the manganese removal unit will be installed at well 8 this week, and Cottonwood Drive has been overlaid. That's from the to the south of the new set of lights, and Dogwood and Sunrise Court are to follow. And finance is basically looking at finalizing the 2000 level financial statements, preparing to run the rural water and sewer bills, and preparing for the 2012 tax season. Myself, I was away for about 10 days or so. However, prior to departure, we had a good meeting of all the staff where we reviewed the contents of the business plan, and everybody was given a briefing on the budget and how projects are financed, so that all our staff are in the know and can be our ambassadors on the street when people are asking, what's happening. So that's my report for today.
Great, Mr. Romanko. That's a great report, and thanks for putting the we into the team. It's good to have everybody with all that knowledge. It really does help bring forward a whole sense of community when we're talking about the employees and the town council and the administration and that. So that's great. And when you were talking about the air quality, it would be pretty hard to have a bad air quality report in this building, because I think the wind just sort of blows through. So if it's good air outside, it's good air inside. Motion to receive that report, please, Councillor Rhodes, Plant. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item up would be councillor reports, and it is Councillor McCordoff, please.
Thank you. So you will notice that all of us today are wearing our yellow daffodils, not daisies, they're daffodils. And this is in honor of the Canadian Cancer Society. It's called the Society Daffodil Campaign. It's for the month of April. And specifically, we have Daffodil Day on April the 27th. And there was a proclamation that National Daffodil Day, April the 27th, and it was signed by our mayor. So we are quite happy to take part in that. The Canadian Cancer Society actually has several things on all year long, and one of the things that is happening next month, in the month of May, is that the mammography van is coming to Osoyoos. That would be May the 14th to the 16th. So any local women who would like to have mammography exam can phone the Cancer Society in Vancouver and book an appointment. But we're very lucky that they are able to come to Osoyoos. I think it's twice a year. I've also been hearing quite a lot of in the news lately about new upgrades in drugs and new things that are happening to help cancer patients, and many of them are out of UBC. So I think we have a very good team down there, and we're happy to hear that. A couple of the meetings that I've been to recently, I was very impressed with. One was the EDAC meeting the other day, the Economic Development Action Committee. A very gung-ho group of, I don't say young people because they're not all young people on that committee, but we have a very nice variety of people that have background in various businesses, and they seem to be doing a terrific job. So I think we're very lucky. The other meeting that I was at was a Rotary luncheon, and there's another group that is very, very active in this community. And we were invited to a luncheon because the MP, Dick Harris, from I think he's from Prince George. He was there, but and he lives up in Prince George part of the time, and in Ottawa, of course, part of the time. But guess where he's bought a house? In Osoyoos, and this is where he plans to retire. So very interesting times right now, and it's always great fun to go out and meet people that are as enthusiastic about Osoyoos as we are. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McCordoff. Just, I was wondering, did you want to touch on the volunteer upcoming?
The volunteer luncheon.
Yes.
Yes, the volunteer luncheon, I should have mentioned that, is on this Saturday. It's at the Sonora Center, and certainly all volunteer groups have been invited to participate in that, and I think notices have been sent out to all of them. If you have not responded yet and you would like to attend the luncheon, please phone Sarah at the Sonora Center. We would love to have you come and join us, 12 o'clock on Saturday at the Sonora Center.
Thanks, Councillor McCordoff. Councillor Ryan, next, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I would like to talk today about two things. I'd like to talk about arts and culture in Osoyoos, and I'd also like to talk about Earth Day, which is coming up this coming Sunday. When I was at the Lions Breakfast during Extravaganza, I noticed a lot of children and families that were quite intrigued by our sound sculpture that's in the town square. And in fact, someone came up to me there and he said, "What is that thing called?" And I said, "Well, it's called a sound sculpture." And I then proceeded to tell him the story about it, and I'm going to do that for you too, and pointed out to him the where he could find out more information on a plaque under the little hut that's there. But anyway, it's 10 years old this spring. It was created as part in the summer and spring of 2002 as part of an Okanagan-Thompson International Sculpture Symposium that took place throughout the valley. And there were 8 communities who participated, and there were 20 sculptors, 10 from Canada and 10 international ones, who were chosen by a jury of 5 people to create public art throughout the valley. And they chose these 20 people from viewing 3,500 slides of their work, of the work of various people. And these 20 were chosen. We were fortunate to participate and to have to commission a sculpture, this sound sculpture, this by Ontario sculptor Don Dixon and Amy Doolittle, his partner. And it's called Narrow Passage, Ageless Song. And it's fascinating the way he conceived it. It's representing the geography and the history of Osoyoos, and the overall shape shows the nearby mountains, and the stainless steel uprights capture the essence of Osoyoos, which is this narrow part of the lake where our bridge is, which then flares out into the south portion. The adjoining pieces in the sculpture are the distant mountains silhouettes, and that bridge the 2 sides of this narrow valley. And around the base are plates that depict the annual 13 lunar cycles, and they're incorporated with them the Osoyoos Indian Band's text for their seasons, of seasons for gathering this and gathering that. So all of this is on a nice little plaque in the little hut. And I'd just like to invite everyone to come and take a closer look at this, what is really a magnificent piece of public art, and to enjoy it, appreciate it, and remember it is a work of art. So it's not something that we want to handle. It's something we want to observe and listen to the wind in the chimes. And you can support arts and culture in Osoyoos by supporting the Arts Council's fundraiser coming up at the end of the month on Saturday the 28th. And it's they who make things like this possible. And we're also fortunate to have an art gallery, 2 concert series, and we're going to have a 3rd concert series this summer with our concerts in the park, and a theater company, a film series, and a lot of other cultural activities. So take advantage of these and enjoy the culture of your community. This is also the week that we're leading up to Earth Day, and there are many things that you can do there. One of the ones that you're being invited to is something that is being an initiative from Greg BYLAWS and Teresa Cowan and others, and they are going to invite us all to the end of Fairview Drive up near the golf course at 8:30 on Saturday before we go to the volunteer luncheon. And we're going to pick up tons of garbage that has been illegally dumped up on the hillside near the old Dividend mine area. So certainly hope that you'll come and join us all for that. And there are other things you can do too. You can try to leave your car at home during that Earth Week and walk or cycle to your destination. You can buy a reusable water bottle and stop using single-use bottled water. You can also get a reusable bag. They're on sale at most of the stores, and I think one of the grocery stores has even a special where you can get one free if you buy enough groceries. And you can also join the naturalists for a hike throughout our beautiful South Okanagan environment. So lots of things that you can do during Earth Day, and there's also going to be lots of culture that you can enjoy throughout the year.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Just when we were looking at that cleanup up at the old mine site and above the subdivision, Dividend Ridge, did we waive those fees?
We did, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I
we
knew
did.
that was the intent, but I'm just going, did we actually get that far?
Yeah,
I
we
know
did.
we were so
We did
excited with
make
the
a
cleanup.
resolution. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Councillor Plant, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to try to make my council reports short and sweet like my new haircut. So, for those of you who haven't noticed yet, I did get a little haircut on the Easter Saturday extravaganza. It was a fantastic day. Started with that breakfast, and then I had my little 2-year-old run around and try to collect some eggs. And we had, I think it was around 3,500 eggs in there, 3,000 eggs, 3,500 eggs in there, and they're all gone in a minute. Those kids can really clean up. And then I had the pleasure of, as a volunteer firefighter, is to do our haircut fundraiser for cancer research. And it's one of the funnest things I do, and I never miss Easter because of it. And, you know, hair will grow back, so don't be scared, people. It's okay. I tried to put the glasses on today to look a little more presentable. But we raised approximately $1,250 that day. And we also did our firefighters oyster feed on a Saturday, where we've actually now put in another $1,250. So we're going to write a check to Relay for Life for $2,500, and I'm really excited about that, and that's why I do it. I just wrote down this little quote: a personal fight against cancer takes courage, and a community's fight takes commitment. And I really do think our town does place a lot of commitment at this time of year for this. And one of those other ones is the our firefighter oyster feed that was held on Saturday. I want to throw out one name, and I'd never really talked to him before to say that I would, but his name's Chris Parker, and he is one of our volunteer firefighters. Without this guy, a lot of that wouldn't have got done. We had over 400 people there. We had a buffet-style meal that we got 400 people through in 45 minutes, which we felt was something to, but the biggest thing that we get is the community involved, donating from the local community, from the businesses, to actually a lot of people who just donated their time. So we appreciate all of that. And I just wanted to look it up because I know we write a lot of checks, and we give a lot of checks away that day for all different causes. But since 2006, we've donated over $100,000 from that event. So it's something that I'm very proud of and very proud to be part of. So congratulations to those guys, and thank you again to everyone who supported that event. And then I also want to just bring up we have the EDAC meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. Before that, I'm going to go play some softball. So we'll get softball, and then we'll go to the EDAC committee at 7 o'clock. So that'll be good. Again, as Councillor McCordoff says, it's a very energetic group who are looking to do big things. So, and then what we've just kind of mentioned is the proclamation for Pitch in Canada Week. And we've talked a little bit about cleanup number 1, which is with Teresa and Greg from Smudge Cosmetics and BYLAWS Electrical. And I also want to throw in South Okanagan Concrete in there, because they are donating a truck to get this garbage out of there. So very excited to help out on that. And again, if you get a chance to come down, that's 8:30 on April 21st. The second cleanup that we have on there is also, it's sponsored by the Osoyoos Desert Society in the town of Osoyoos, and that is on April 24th from 3 to 4. Location is 146th Ave. All ages are welcome. And so I look forward to doing that next week and doing some big cleanup. I still have the picture in my head that Teresa showed us from the amount of garbage that has been distributed up there, and it's awful to see, and I'm just looking forward to getting that cleaned up and then putting in the deterrent punishments for those who try to do it again. So I will leave it at that, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Plant. I'm glad that you're keeping these short.
That's the short, like the haircut.
Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, well, I'll start off not so short. So one of the most often asked questions that I get as a councillor is, when are you going to do something about our poor quality drinking water? And, you know, I got to say right off the top that, you know, we have pretty decent drinking water in Osoyoos. Our water comes from really deep wells. The aquifer is proven. We got good flow rates. And it's untreated. We don't do anything to it. What we pull out of the ground is what you get out of your taps. So I'd like to reflect on a little mineral called manganese, not to be confused with magnesium or any of that other stuff, but manganese is a common groundwater quality issue in the Okanagan. And I want to say that I'm not an expert, and my researching skills are pretty much limited to knowledge that I gained through the Okanagan Basin Water Board and the Health Canada website that's available for anybody. So manganese is a mineral that's present in our water, and it contributes to corrosion of our pipes and stains our plumbing fixtures and our laundry. And you know, when you lift up your toilet tank lid, not the toilet bowl lid, but the tank lid, and you look inside there, and all of that black stuff you see in there is actually manganese. And Health Canada has been out, they've been very proactive over the last few years, and they've tested extensively 84 sites across our nation, and 67% of those have manganese in them of various levels, and however, not one of them, 0, report anything close to toxic levels in the water. And manganese is regarded by Health Canada as one of the least toxic elements in our water. The fact is, it's just darn annoying stuff because of what it does in the staining quality. So I didn't really intend this afternoon to go on about the effects of manganese, so you can lift up your toilet bowl and you can see it. But I wanted everyone to know how progressive Osoyoos is and the benefits of our proactivity in our community. The removal of manganese is often done in conjunction with iron removal from water, and it's done through a process of chlorination and filtration. This process is so expensive and uses water at such an alarming, excessive rate, and just as a sidebar, to take 1 liter of water into a container in your house, it would take 10 liters to make that 1 liter of water through that process. And you know, our sanity would be questioned if we even began to talk about this process. We're talking millions and millions of dollars, an investment that is just not achievable in our community. So rather than sit around and do nothing and worry about the high cost of conventional removal techniques, we're actually doing something about it. The town of Osoyoos will begin, as CAO Romanko mentioned earlier, a pilot test that is very, very innovative, and it's biological removal technology, and we're going to assess the performance, the operating costs, the design criteria to implement it permanently in our community. Earlier this year, we approved a budget amount of $40,000 to initiate this program, and it was recently announced by the Okanagan Basin Water Board that we receive a $15,000 grant to offset our investment in this technology. If successful, this removal technique will come at a cost, but a much less cost than the conventional route that I mentioned earlier, and save so much water that it's ridiculous for us to ignore the potential of this program. The project results will be shared with all water users in the Okanagan Basin. All water purveyors and users will benefit from our program, and all of this is coming from an initiative in our community. How great is this? And I'd also like to just take a couple of minutes here and thank our public work staff and Director Ron Doucette for bringing this project to council. CAO Barry Romanko for recognizing the grant opportunity and turning it over to our engineering department for their, their technical expertise. And, it's a creative program, and we just really got to thank the Okanagan Basin Water Board for stepping up to the plate, helping us out with this financially. That $15,000 is going to go a long way in evaluating this program. And, all of the technology and all of the knowledge that we've been able to gain says that this is going to work, and this is just an awesome opportunity for us in this community.
Thanks, Councillor Rhodes. Good report, and thanks for the kudos to the Okanagan Basin Water Board. I'll make sure that I report out at the next meeting what you were saying. It's a good process. I know Anna Warwick-Sears was really excited about the program, and as we heard earlier today, there's already people, Rutland and a couple of people that are wanting the same process. So I'm not sure exactly what the biological component of it is. We have Weevils going to look after our milfoil, and we have Weevils looking after our knapweed situation on the spotted knapweed. So I'll dig a little further, and you don't have that by any chance, do you?
I turned my mic off. I have very limited knowledge about what that means, but apparently there are some bacteria, and I thought about putting a little bit of a paragraph in here about bacteria, because everybody always runs in fear when they hear that word. But let's not forget that bacteria is very beneficial to our health in so many ways, and it's actually a bacteria that is going to be introduced at the source, and it just literally eats this stuff. And the more manganese that comes out of the ground, the more the bacteria grows and is really nurtured in this environment, and that's how you get rid of it. But boy, that's the extent of my knowledge. I don't really know much else about it.
Okay, well, thanks for your input, and again, I'll certainly report back on that water board. And some days when I'm having to go to Vernon, which I did on the last Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting, you go to Vernon and back. You go to Vernon, do a 4-hour meeting, and come home again. That makes for a pretty long day, so I guess it's worthwhile at the end. Anyway, thanks for that report. I've got quite a little bit of varied information here. I just want to have talk about that Cottonwood Drive that we talked about earlier in the meeting. That's very necessary. We got all that intersection all set up. It's going to have lights and everything. We got a lot of people over there, and there's nowhere to go. So we got parks, we got pubs, we got businesses, we got all the motels, all those condos, those 3 condos over there, and they really didn't have anywhere to go. So this is going to get us sidewalks and curbs and put a complement of safety into that whole area, because it's quite unsafe now. People really truly walking everywhere. So that'll just all bring it up to line, and that is, of course, that counter petition process. We'll see how that one flies over there. The second item, on that sidewalk to the golf course, when we let that tender out and it had been around before, it had been around 2 or 3 times before, and I just like to, sometimes we forget to give credit where it's due, and I really like to single out past councillor Ted Cronmiller. He had just a whole bunch of work of going in there to try to get that thing happening. So while you're not sitting on council anymore, Ted, thanks a lot. That was a great addition. And I'm just hitting a few of these little sore points here. Mr. Romanko's report, when he talked about the visitor center and those gravel hillsides there, here we are in the best little town in all the British Columbia, and we've got those slope hillsides out there that, again, we have addressed before. This isn't the first time we've come around. We tried to do a desert themed natural component up there, but it just didn't catch in that gravel. So maybe this time around we can get them dressed up a little bit. It is the entranceway to our town. the Easter celebrations here were absolutely fantastic, and thanks to all those crews and everybody that pitched in and did such a great job. It was just one of the smoothest that we've seen. On April the 13th, I got to celebrate my mom's 98th birthday at Mariposa, so that was quite a bit of fun, and in fact it was a great amount of fun. And so having been here for quite a while, all her friends came, and there was only 15 people there, and I asked them how long what their connection to Osoyoos was in years. And I guess the winner of that category was Glenn Tweedy, and he'd been here 78 years. But anyway, amongst the 15 people that were there, and the youngest relationship with the town of Osoyoos was my wife Martha. She only had 7 years, but the grand total was 728 years on 15 people, just under 50 years for everybody that was there. So it was just good fun talking about old Osoyoos and that. So that was neat. Went to the Economic Development Association meetings. The volunteers coming up on Saturday, that volunteer appreciation, that's a real special day. And I'm going to take that to segue into a need in the town, and I believe it's going to be in this week's paper. I think there's a letter to the editor, or letter to the editor, and maybe a story. But the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society is under real tough times right now. They're down to about 5 people on that board. The last year, I don't believe they've even had regular monthly meetings. It's very unfortunate. It goes back to some great spark plugs in town, like Lionel Dallas and people like that got this going. A huge interest in the lake. When we were and are still fighting milfoil and many other problems out there. So you got the Roger Hortons and the Mark McKennies and these people that Dennis Potter out on the lake water quality boat. They're just sort of done. And if you're ever thinking of being a volunteer and doing something for the town and stepping up to the plate, for goodness sake, this is the time. I had a little social function at my house maybe 10 days ago, and unfortunately the price was that you had to hear me carry on. I'll use the word rant borrow that from C.J. Rhodes, but I got quite animated about this situation, and we need your help. The little lake needs the help so that it can improve its health. And to that end, I know Councillor Ryan is a member, and one of the job functions, or one of the opportunities actually, is to take the pontoon boat out every second Wednesday. I think it works out to maybe 8 trips. You take it out in the summertime, go to 3 different spots in the lake, and do some testing into turbidity, dissolved oxygen, and that. The gear's there, the comradeship is fine. I believe there's going to be a new person step up and offer to be the captain of the boat, and he's fully qualified, and I have a lot of faith in him. So with all this going on, we still need people to come to these meetings to be a part. I mean, small towns are made up of volunteers, and I think the better the town, the better the volunteer group is. And this one here has just sort of been let, they slide. People don't pay attention and think everything's wonderful. Well, I'm saying otherwise on this one here. We could sure use some volunteers. The AGM is coming up in, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I guess I'm not very prepared. But it's coming up in April or May, the AGM for the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society. There will be a lot of information in the newspaper. Please turn out. I think a membership is it $20, Councillor Ryan, or 10?
I think it's 10, yeah. It's
Probably still $10.
very affordable.
Yeah, and another person on that I want to attach a name to is Alicia Osland. She's just been the recording secretary forever and ever and ever. She has a new job position now, but I'm sure she would still stay on and be that recording secretary. And they were a big part of the Osoyoos Lake Water Science Forum. We're doing a lot of joint work now with Washington State on Osoyoos Lake, on the American portion of Osoyoos Lake. So if you can see your way to being a volunteer, come on out to the AGM, take out a $10 membership, and let's get this organization rolling again. That's probably enough. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Rhodes, McCordoff, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
All of you probably got it. It's from Peter Robinson.